This is a reading from the Notebooks by Maria Valtorta. 1944, June 14th. I am reflecting on Nennolina. Footnote says, Antonietta Meo, nicknamed Nennolina, born 1930, died 1937. And Jesus says to me, receive light on the power which is paradise. Consider that this little child, who had barely reached the use of reason, now, up above in the country of the children of God, possesses an intelligence and a knowledge not at all inferior to those of the most learned and long-lived of the mystical doctors. My and your John, who died at the age of 100, after having known the highest mysteries of God, Paul, the scholarly apostle, Thomas, the angelic doctor, and along with them all the giants of true knowledge, cannot add light to that little one, my saint. The Holy Spirit, whose precocious bride she was on earth, taught her in embraces of fire what he does not teach to the proud, humanly learned, and in uniting her to himself in this blessed country, on whose threshold you find the triune God saying to you, enter and rejoice, O my beloved. He infused into this little one the perfection of knowledge, just as he infuses into adults and the learned. For all your knowledge is always imperfect, and becomes perfect only when you possess God. God is truth, God as love. Here there is nothing imperfect. God communicates his properties to his saints. He makes you similar to him, who remains your king, out of justice, and thus the maximum perfection. But who is a king who opens to you all his treasures and covers and penetrates you with them? When you saw paradise, you said it seemed to you that the spirits there were of a single age, and that only in the seriousness of their gaze and features their more or less adult age is revealed. In the vision on May 25th. This was shown to you because you were still on earth, and would not have been able to comprehend and distinguish otherwise. But here there is no age. The spirit is eternally young, as at the moment when God created it to give it to you, as the soul of your flesh, until the moment when the resurrection of the flesh covers you again with glorified flesh. Spirits are incorporeal and the same. When they appear to you in the apparitions which I permit for your good, they appear to you in a corporeal form, out of mercy on your human incapacity to perceive what is not matter. They materialize, then, to be perceptible for you. But here there is light singing praise to God, and that's all. Light, love, wisdom. Since Jesus had begun to make himself heard, precisely when I was preparing to pray, I said to him, but Jesus, in this way I can no longer pray. Afterwards I am tired, and am not able to any more. And he, with a smile, which if I were not afraid of being disrespectful, I would describe as roguish, replied, that's just what I want. You belong to me entirely, in good and evil. Yes, even in evil. Aren't you content because I take you, even when you are imperfect, to make what you do perfect by canceling out your shortcomings? And then you ought to be content as well in sacrificing to me what is good, what, when you carry it out, prompts you to say, now I'm doing good. You're good, oh my little gnat. Your devotions are devotions. In them, habit, scruples, the fear that, if you don't say them, I will not hear and bless you, and distractions come into play. I don't want them. I leave them to you for the hours in which I want you to feel that you are even less than a gnat, that you are the larva of a gnat, still without wings to fly to the top of a daisy in the field. But when I swoop down upon you, I carry you off in prayer. I am the eagle. The eagle flies at the summit of the sky and rises higher and higher into the blue in concentric circles and looks at the sun. His eyes look at the sun without being dazzled by it. On the contrary, the more he looks at it, the stronger they feel. The eagle teaches his heavy young, who are afraid to leave the nest hanging perpendicular to the ravine, the exaltation of flight, by taking them one by one in his robust talons, and carrying them higher and higher with him. Inebriated with light, they can no longer endure the cavern in the rock, and with no more fear of the frightful sight below them, they open their wings and launch out, to meet the sun in the heights. They have learned to be eagles. Before they were only chicks, like those of the goose. They have learned to fly, not to experience filth and mire any more. to live on sunlight and be alone. For, little men, who do not know the wonders of my creatures, or know them so poorly, and I teach them to you, the eagle acts just like this to turn his chicks into little eagles, and when he sees they are eager for blue sky and sun, he leaves them, continuing to watch over them, as I do with you. And they open their wings out of instinct or desire, the instinct to soar. They have the intuition that those two long things which Mom and Dad move, and which they have never opened, are of use to soar in that lovely azure, and they yield to the desire to act like the others and to dive into that constantly rising blue, which looks like a wall and is nothing but purer and purer air. And the adult eagle, higher up, follows them, and if weary or weak, one gives in after a short flight and plunges down, he grasps him, saves him, takes him back to the nest, and strengthens him more than the others to prepare him for the new flight the next day. And this continues until he has shown them the peaks where it is lovely to live alone, as kings, to make every peak an absolute kingdom, where the king and queen love each other in whirlwinds of light and flights. And what's different about the way I act with you? Prayer is the flight of an eagle. Devotion is the fumbly quiverings of the wings of a gnat, that which difficulty occupies the hollow of a flower, to enjoy his crumb of sunlight. And I take you when I want to, and I carry you with me. I shall now set you down. Are you tired? Rest. Just tell me you love me. That's enough for me. And remain ready for the new flight. Don't you understand that I am your Lord, so absolute that I want what I want?